Hey everybody, this is Mr. Forrest here again. So this is a week one overview. I'm going to try to cover some of the things that you'll be learning about in week one, in both in Canvas and the ebook with Pearson Plus and the MyTLab for the simulation. So let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so when you get started in Canvas, again, you're going to come to this your main page, go to your modules. You already know about where to find the tutoring services, so I'm going to shrink that here a bit. You've looked at your syllabus. I'm going to shrink that one here. You should have already watched all these videos. If you haven't, you need to watch the videos and stuff. Shrink that one here. Now we look at week one, and you're watching this video because you clicked right here on the overview, okay? Again, reminder, you have to have a paid account by Saturday, 9 p.m. No temporary accounts will be allowed beyond Saturday, 9 p.m. So if you have a temp account that's not paid for by Saturday and made it a paid account, then you're going to get dropped from the class. If you don't have the $80 or so to be able to purchase for this class, then you're going to need to take the class in the next semester, okay? What's due in this class this week and stuff? You have homework in MyTLab. You have to read the ebook in chapter 1 and then take the chapter 1 study test, okay? Chapter test, sorry about that. So in the homework, so when I click on here, it's going to take me to the MyTLab page, and then I'm going to be able to log into the MyTLab, and I can then work on the training assessments. So I made life a little bit simpler for me. So when I click on here, it takes me to a page over like here. You click on the little tile inside of MyTLab, right? Because you set up a paid account, and then it takes you to this right screen. And now you see in week one, you have the Windows training and assessment. And this just reminds you that you have to go back over to Canvas to take the chapter 1 quiz, okay? So if I click on the Windows trainings, what are some of the things that you're going to be learning about in Windows this week, okay? Now I want to refresh the screen just to make sure that Zoom is picking up because sometimes pop-ups don't always pick it. So give me a second, okay? Here we go. Got it. So what are some of the things you're going to learn about in Windows? You're going to learn about, customizing the start menu, the taskbar, starting program, moving and sizing. You probably already know how to do that kind of stuff. However, the snipping tool, really good tool. I use it all the time, whatever, stuff like that, okay? Adjusting account settings, installing and uninstalling programs, backing things up, disk cleanup, all sorts of stuff. Look, there's 19 different tasks that you'll have to demonstrate some knowledge in both the training and the assessments. Again, what's the difference between the trainings and the assessments? I don't keep any of the scores for your letter grade based upon the trainings. Why? Because it has a learning aid. It's showing you how to do things, right? When you go through and you hit submit, when you hit the learning aid, when you hit the learning aid, it's going to show you one way. Okay, well, maybe it's not the way I worked or whatever. Maybe there's a problem with my computer. I don't know, whatever. When you finish and you hit submit, you leave some time to go back and view your submission, look at your review assignment score over here on the left, whatever, right? And then you can see the alternative methods to doing the ones you got wrong, and then go back and redo those assignments in the training and the assessment. Again, what's the difference between a training and assessment? The trainings, I don't keep track of the scores for your grade, and you can do them as many times as you want. The assessments, I do keep track for your letter grade, and I keep the highest score, okay? Trainings and assessments are similar, not identical, okay? So let me go ahead and close this part of the screen here and say, okay, now if I come back over to where I was at, right? I said, hey, I've done my training, my assessment for Windows that week. Fantastic, I got that. I still have to read my chapters. So I click on here and I go into my Pearson account. Now, when you go into the Pearson account, it's MyTLab is Pearson. So you use the same MyTLab that you paid for, right? To get into the simulations, go into Pearson Plus to read the ebook of Technology in Action. If you're already logged into one, it usually tries to remember it. But again, it's that credentials, your username and password for the MyTLab that gets you into the ebook and the simulation because they're different sites, okay? So when you click on that, it's going to take you into the page, and you should be able to look at the chapter, which is going to look something like, here's the book. And then you're going to come down here into chapter 1, okay? And you're going to, what are you going to do? You're going to read chapter 1, okay? And so I think in some of this, if I pull this aside for a second, sorry about that. And let me look at what's in chapter 1. Back up. Okay, these are some of the things that you're going to learn about in the ebook in chapter 1 when you're reading chapter 1, right? Various technology tools that happen on a global issue, a global level, whatever. How technology is changing. I mean, we all know that, but again, it's an introductory chapter, right? How it affects our lives. Why is literacy so important and stuff? I mean, don't everybody know anything about computers? It's like, well, we know how to use phones. We know how to use tablets and stuff, but you know, what is a computer? It goes beyond just simply only the phone. The phone is a good computer. It's a small portion of it, but it's completely limited to what it's about. So what are other things that we're going to learn about, and why is literacy important? Okay. What is artificial intelligence? I mean, just a general thing or whatever about that. Ethics, behavioral influences, right? You know, how technology creates ethical challenges. Just because I have the ability to copy a software program does not make it legal. Should I be doing that? If I buy a program, can I give it to a friend? We already know that kind of experience and stuff with Netflix accounts. Like, oh, are you sharing your password, username, and login with networks, with Netflix to your friends or your relatives? Yeah, they don't like that, do they? Yeah. So these are some of the things that are going to be in the chapter 1. So if I bounce back over to my course outline in my Canvas modules, what is week 1? What are the 3 things that you really need to do? You need to go through the MyTLab Windows training and assessments and get that done before Saturday. You need to read the ebook, okay, for chapter 1. There's an audio PowerPoint, which is just an overview. The audio is just an overview. It's not meant to replace the reading. And then there's the chapter study guide with questions that I'm probably going to be using a lot of those in the chapter quizzes and the final, okay? And then you have to actually take the chapter 1 quiz, which typically is 25 questions, okay? Anyway, hopefully this kind of helps you get kind of an idea of where this track is going to go on. Just a little peek. Week 2, see down here? Oh, yeah, a lot of stuff. This is where things going to start to pick up really, really fast, and you have a lot of work to get done in week 2. Anyway, you know what? Let's just focus on week 1. So you guys have a great day. Let me go ahead and stop my sharing, okay? And we'll see you in the next video, okay?